Do you know the benefits of the different levels of the Castaway Club, Disney Cruise Line's loyalty program?
So on today's show, we're going to talk all about the summer 2027 itineraries and where the Disney ships will be and why it pays to be a member of Disney's Castaway Club.
Yes, it does. Hello, my friend, and welcome to this week's episode of the Disney Travel Secrets Podcast. We are your travel agents, hosts, and #1 best-selling authors, Rob and Kerri Stuart, and we are here in the CMV studio in beautiful, a little cloudy, Windermere, Florida. This is episode number 470, original air date February 16th, 2026.
So in addition to letting you know where all the amazing Disney ships are going to be starting in the summer of 2027, we also have an update for those of you that are looking to join our agency.
I would say it's very humbling that we have just over 40 of you that have reached out just since January 1st. That's our biggest number ever to start the year.
And 2026 is going to be yet another record year for creating magic vacations. So let's dive right in.
Hello, my friends. This is former Disney Imagineer Hugh Darley, and you're listening to Disney Travel Secrets with my friends Rob and Kerri Stuart. As you can imagine, I have plenty of Disney secrets myself, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let's get this show on the road. Take it away, guys.
And as we start this show, we are smack dab in the middle of the Winter Olympics over in Milan Cortina. For those of you who don't know, it's not like Minneapolis, St. Paul, where they're next to each other. These cities in Italy
they're far.
About 40 miles apart. I want to give a huge shout out and congratulations to my cousin, Ariana Fontana. She is a short track speed skater for the Italian team. And as of this recording, she won her 12th Olympic medal and her 3rd gold medal overall. And she is the most decorated Italian Winter Olympic athlete in history. So way to go, Ari.
Yeah, I'm super excited to watch her probably later today.
Yes.
Do her #1 sport, which is the 500 meters.
As we mentioned just a few minutes ago in the intro, we're ready to start bringing on the 2026 class of agents. We are putting the finishing touches on an on-demand webinar where you can go through all of the information at your own pace.
Okay, you just made it sound like it was going to be really long.
Okay, kind of.
It's not though. It's only about 15 minutes, but we go into more detail than we ever have to really show you not just the investment of joining Creating Magic Vacations, but all the value you get when you partner with our team.
I gotta admit, that's a mistake that I've made for probably about 7 years. I would tell people how much it costs to join us, but I really didn't do a deep dive enough into the benefits and why we are the right choice if you're looking for a serious travel business. To be clear, we are not looking for hobbyists. If you just want to book your friends and family, that's not a good fit for us, but I can tell you several of my friends that have agencies that would be a better fit for that.
Yeah, and to reiterate, our goal is for people who want to build a serious travel business with some real part-time income. And for many of you, you may even want to become job optional. And we love that phrase because we have several agents who are now full-time travel agents and many who have made this a second career.
Now, we have several of our agents who were not job optional. They lost their job, but luckily they had a growing travel business, so they didn't have to panic. And I will say watching our agents that go full-time has just been incredible to see their journey.
Yeah, I've loved it. Now, as we get started, we do have another public service announcement, a PSA this week. And technically, it's the one we've been talking about. I have to tell you, though, that there are some people out there that are getting very, very clever about scamming for your information. So pay attention.
And now I'm looking at the latest one. It's from, it looks like Aisles, like a grocery store aisle. It's
Aldi.
Aisles Aldi. Anyway, we're looking for ideas to load up our shelves. If you've got one, we will unload our shelves and your basket on us. And for those of you that are watching this, that's what it looks like on my phone. It is clearly a fake, but it's also, if I look at just the format of this email, it is crazy how clever they're getting. Again, this has now happened to me on a daily basis, specifically on my agency email.
Yeah, and this really happened just since the first of the year because email scammers are getting very, very clever. So be careful. And strangely, it's just your email. It's not mine.
It's always me.
But we do recognize the format of the email because they all look pretty much the exact same or similar. And we're getting emails from companies that we're doing business with. So like Kroger, American Express,
Not Aldi,
but not Aldi.
but they are right up the street.
Yeah.
So before you click on any email that you're not sure of, even if you know you're doing business with them, again, the format all looks pretty much the same. Click on who it's from, and you will see if it's a scam or not. So I don't know what happens if you click on one of these emails. And to be clear, I really don't want to know.
Yeah, just know who is sending you the email.
Yes.
And also remember, there is a big one. There are Disney Cruise Line scammers out there, and they will reach out to you and tell you they have an upgrade for your upcoming trip. You just have to give them a credit card info. And they're very convincing. And the sad thing is they are targeting people who are in Facebook groups for specific cruises because they know you're going on that cruise. So just know Disney is never going to do a reach out and offer an upgrade. That is 100% a known scam.
Which is why it's good to always work with a travel agent that is familiar with booking all types of Disney vacations, because they can tell you if it's fake or not. If you're working with the travel agent, Disney will not communicate with you. They will communicate through your agent. So,
Yes.
Okay, now for a quick little mousekeeping update, the term we use in our weekly coaching calls. We do still have a few cabins left on our cruise on the Ama Sintra, part of the Ama Waterways fleet.
Yeah. And if you were not aware of this, if you are doing an Adventures by Disney River cruise, they charter the Ama Waterways ships.
Now, there are a couple things that make this an absolutely one-of-a-kind cruise. First, we'll be sailing with our very good friend and business partner, Jen Lee, who is the godmother of the ship. Second, because Disney canceled our Adventures by Disney trip with former Imagineer and friend of the show, Hugh Darley, Hugh has decided to join us on this awesome cruise.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with the size of river cruise ships, they are definitely the small ships. And in Portugal, they're even smaller. There are only 50 cabins, which means they're only going to be about 100 people on this ship.
That
I
is
love
true.
the small ship cruising.
I do too. And we're excited to be sailing with several of our Creating Magic Vacations travel agents, their guests, and of course, our guests and friends. Now let's talk about the Disney Cruise Line itineraries for the summer of 2027.
Yeah. And this is the week, if you're catching this on the original air date or the week of, but this is the week that it really pays to be a Disney Castaway Club member, because you can book your summer 2027 itineraries, and it is based on your level. And something worth noting is that if you're not a Disney Castaway Club member, this is not something that you can just sign up for. You earn it by taking at least one cruise with Disney Cruise Line.
For each date that we're about to mention, you can book online starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Or you can just make sure your travel agent knows what options you want. That's probably easier.
Yeah.
We'll get up and do it for you.
But if you are listening on the original air date, which is Monday, February 16th, that is the day that Disney Castaway Club members can make their reservations for next summer, starting with the Pearl members only on the 16th.
Ah, someday. Pearl level means that you've completed 25 Disney cruises. And they're really the top of the food chain when it comes to the Castaway Club.
Yeah, and that is a lot of cruises, though, which, speaking of, it is a big year for us in the cruise history of Rob and Kerri, because
The cruise history of Rob and Kerri. I like that.
Yeah, well, we're going to cross the 50 cruises benchmark for lifetime, and also the 250 nights at sea.
Now, that's a big number. And some of you say, wow, that's big. And some of you say, well, that's not that many. But keep in mind, we've only been cruising since 2005.
Yeah, so in total, we have actually cruised 16 different cruise lines, which gives us a good perspective on how each line is different.
We may have done that in a book too.
Yeah, and we did. But, but keep in mind, you had mentioned our first cruise was in 2005. So we have packed a lot into the last 20 years.
And next month, we're excited to cruise on a new brand of cruise ship, meaning new to us, but on an itinerary that we've done before. So we're going to be cruising with Uniworld for the Travel Planners International Top Producers Cruise. Now, this is an incredible honor because we are ranked number 6 out of over 5,000 agencies that work with them. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, and this cruise is pretty much the exact same itinerary that we did back in 2014 for our very first ever river cruise. And that was cruising the Rhone River in southern France from Arles to Lyon. And then we were on Ama Waterways at the time, and their ship was the Amadagio.
And that was so far back that ship is no longer even in the fleet. But that first cruise on the Rhone River is how we truly understood river cruising. We had heard about it for years, read about it. We've read the brochures, but we just never had the opportunity to make it happen. And it's funny to me when people on TV you know they're reading the script because they have no idea how to pronounce words. And I was watching one of the hosts say, so now we're going to take you through a tour of Arles. I'm like, that's it. It's Arles.
But this is a very special itinerary for us because we do start in Arles, France.
Ooh, well, good job.
And that is the place where Vincent van Gogh painted Starry Nights. And the place, like the cafe where he painted it, it's still there. So it's kind of cool.
And the sanitarium. We get to visit that as well. So, okay, that was a fun side story. But now let's get back to the Castaway Club.
Yes, let's get back to the Castaway Club. We're talking all Disney cruises
today. The
today.
booking dates.
Okay, so the next day for booking is February 17th, and that is when Platinum members can get their bookings. And that is us. So
Yay.
we finally made it. That means that you've completed 10 cruises with Disney. Although technically I'm giving us an asterisk. We've done 11. They just didn't give us credit for the
because
the
one
inaugural.
was a complimentary invite
that's fair.
to the Destiny. So keep in mind, we're about to hit 50 cruises. That means 20% of our cruises have been on Disney.
Oh, yeah. Didn't even think about that.
So you also get some perks when you achieve any of these statuses, like special lanyards during your cruise, dining credits, photo credits. In our case, we get lunch or dinner at Palo.
I know. And, the benefits, they do vary depending upon your level. But you know what? It's really nice to have little gifts waiting for you. And unlike any other cruise line, Disney cruisers specifically are very, very proud
Yes, they are.
to wear those lanyards and share their status. I know I am.
Yes.
I'm super excited to get our platinum one when we go on our next Disney cruise.
So now it's time for a miniature version of Rob's rant.
Uh-oh.
And this is it's a Rob, it's rant-ish. And as we got our gold lanyard, I kept noticing that the silver and the platinum look almost identical. So you're looking at someone, oh, you're platinum. Oh, no, it's silver. Now, they did not make that mistake with pearl because those are white. Those lanyards stand
really
out.
cool.
So anyway, up next, on Wednesday the 18th, if you're a Gold Castaway Club member, that means you completed at least 5 Disney cruises. And these little 1 or 2 day advanced booking dates really do make a difference.
They do, especially for the coveted itineraries, which we're going to share.
Yes, we are.
Because on Thursday, February 19th, 3 different groups are able to book. So you have silver, meaning you've just done at least 1 Disney cruise, or if you're DVC, or you've completed 1 Adventures by Disney trip. So that is your day. And let's just say that one is going to be a very, very popular and busy morning on Disney Cruise Line.
Now, hopefully you fit into one of these categories, but if not, your day is Monday, February 23rd, and that is when everything opens to the general public.
Yeah, so here is one of our predictions for the summer of 2027. We think that the Disney Wish will be one of the most popular ships for next summer. And here's why. It's the first of the Wish class that is going to be sailing in the Med for the first time. They haven't had the Wish class over there.
I know. Every time they from the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny, they always bring it right to Florida. They want it close to the parks.
Yep.
Again, the other two, like I just said, are the Treasure and the Destiny. They are going to stick around for Caribbean and Bahamas sailings. And this newer class of ships has really changed cruising with Disney because the Wish class showcases all of the IP, the intellectual property that Disney acquired since they launched the Dream and the Fantasy, 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and this is also the first ship in the class that is going to be in the Mediterranean and the European ports. And that's the hook.
It is, yes.
It is super unique because there will be 2 transatlantic opportunities and they will have sailings to Norway. And then it works its way around the Med and over to the Greek Isles. So unlike other cruise lines who like to park a ship in the same ports and they just repeat their itinerary over and over throughout the summer, Disney is just moving that ship around. It's actually pretty cool.
So if you're a Disney Castaway Club member and you want to sail the Disney Wish in the Med, visit Italy, or even sail the Norwegian fjords, reach out to your Creating Magic Vacations travel agent as soon as possible. You want to beat the general public on this.
Yes. Okay, so now let's have a little more fun. We're going to
give you... we were having fun already.
I know, but I want to share some more specifics on these itineraries. So pay attention, because if you're hearing us share these and you're like, oh my goodness, that one sounds so cool, and maybe that's of interest to you, then here's our pro tip is go ahead and get your deposit down and have that trip planned.
You might as well start with Disney Wish, because again, that makes its European debut after a repositioning cruise. So if you don't know what that is, a repositioning cruise is pretty much what it says. They're going to move the ship from the Caribbean, in this case, taking her across the Atlantic, the home port in Europe for the summer, which means you're not doing a lot of port stops. And this is, I think, the best way to fully explore this ship because you're not stopping any place and you can literally do everything on this ship.
And then here's what's cool is the Wish is going to be doing itineraries that vary from 3 to 10 nights. And they're going to go to some new destinations, including Zadar, Croatia, Trieste, which is near Venice, Italy, and Norway. There's a place in Norway.
It's called a Hellsilt.
Something like that.
That's probably going to get us banned on a lot of...
But you know what? Here's what's cool is these itineraries are going to offer some incredible history and cultural exploration that you can do. And then plus just beautiful coastlines. And then you have the Disney touch. I think it's a win-win-win.
If you've never been to Europe, the hands down best way to start Europe is to take a cruise, find the places you like the most, and then plan a future land vacation, whichever one you like the most.
Yes.
So what's worth noting here is that Trieste, the port when you want to visit Venice, large cruise ships for the most part are no longer docking in Venice proper because thank the Venetians.
No, that was Phoenician.
Venetian.
But in this case, it would be the Venetians.
They just got tired of the giant ships cruising their canals. We totally get it. So we're letting you know that if you see Trieste on the itinerary, it means you will go to Venice.
And so there are also itineraries that are going to be departing from Vancouver. And we have not one, but 2 ships. So the Magic and the Wonder are returning to Alaska for another season. And these are going to be the standard 7-night itineraries. But the Disney Magic is also going to have some 6 and 8-night sailings. And we always recommend for Alaska, while the itineraries are very similar, what makes them unique are what glacier you're going to visit. And maybe there's like a port stop or 2 that's different. Like Skagway isn't on all of them, but it's super popular. So just some little things. That's why you work with a travel advisor because they can point out the right itineraries.
Now, if you do have a choice, I would pick the 8-day itinerary. 90% of the Alaska cruises are 7-night. Having that extra night will make a difference. So now we're going to check out the Disney Dream, who's going to return to Port Canaveral for the summer of 2027. And they're going to offer 3 and 4-night sailings to the Bahamas, featuring stops at Disney's Castaway Key and also Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. These are perfect for weekend getaways. So yes, this is going to replace the Wish that was doing those itineraries.
Yeah, and we highly recommend choosing an itinerary that does go to Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. So we were fortunate to visit there in December, and hands down, we loved it. I loved it more than Castaway, but you know, it's newer, so it should be. They put a little more effort into it. Both are fantastic though. Get an itinerary that has both stops if you can.
The new stuff is usually better, although I still love the Disney Magic.
I know.
But the new island, it's better. Just trust us on that one. Now, also, the Disney Fantasy will continue sailing from Port Canaveral with 4 and 5-night itineraries to the Bahamas and some select Caribbean ports. And we loved this ship. And this is a cast member favorite, a frequent cruiser favorite, because they have amazing adult spaces.
Okay, so this next one is a really special itinerary, and that is the 10-night Southern Caribbean voyage. Southern Caribbean is a beautiful itinerary. You get to go to some very unique places. So if you have the extra time, I would say go for it on this 10-night itinerary.
The Disney Treasure will continue to do the 7-night Eastern and Western Caribbean itineraries from Port Canaveral. Our pro tip here is if you want to sail the ship but looking for the itinerary with the lower price, pick the Western Caribbean. They're always a little bit cheaper.
Always. Now, sailing from Fort Lauderdale, you do have Disney Destiny, and they're doing 3, 4, and 5-night itineraries, again, to the Bahamas and the Caribbean. And they do have some 7-night sailings, which is a nice enhancement, again, to the Eastern and Western Caribbean.
One thing I want to point out is you're starting to see that some 3 and 4 and 5-night itineraries. Here's why. That's the hook. If you've never sailed Disney and you take a 3, 4, or 5-night, you're going to come back and cruise again.
This is true.
Last but not least, however, most people will not experience this ship, and that is the Disney Adventure, because that will continue sailing from Singapore with 3 and 4-night sailings. This is kind of weird. They're all at sea. Now, this is going to be January through August. And what's really interesting about the Disney Adventure, again, this one has no port stops. It's basically just a floating city for 3 and 4 days. Now, it would be a great opportunity to really explore the ship because you're going nowhere.
Yeah. Well, they have some cool things on the ship too. They have that
cruise,
coaster and
the cruise to nowhere.
Yeah. But there are more opportunities to experience what is become very popular, and that is the Marvel Day at Sea and Pixar Day at Sea. So it is returning to select sailings that will begin in 2027, and that is in January. And they do these during what I call the softer season, when demand isn't as high. So think kind of January, February. But for the Marvel and Pixar fans, you will love the immersion and the characters you get to meet. It is a very, very unique cruise.
And because there are so few of these being offered, these always go the quickest. And sometimes it's the DVC members that will use points for these cruises, which I think is nuts. That's a very poor use of points. But just know these will sell out fast. Now, for you West Coast or Texas residents, Marvel Day at Sea will return to Galveston. And this is going to be aboard the Disney Magic. And for the first time, it'll be featured on 2 7-night itineraries visiting the Bahamas.
Which is super unique because usually the Disney ships sailing out of Galveston just do the Western Caribbean. They don't go all the way to the Bahamas. So that is really great news for cruisers who live in Texas and they're tired of doing Western Caribbean.
No, that wouldn't happen. Pixar Day at Sea will be available on 5-night sailings aboard the Disney Fantasy from Port Canaveral, where guests will enjoy immersive moments inspired by Pixar films. That was just me quoting Disney.
Now, which of these itineraries are you most interested in? Are you just collecting ships in 2027? Or do you have one of those placeholders to burn?
And we're going to talk about that in just a second. For our friends that don't know what a placeholder is, could you please tell them?
Yes. So a placeholder is where you make a deposit on a future cruise while you are on your Disney cruise.
You can't do this before.
You can't do this before.
This is only on board.
And so basically what you're doing is you're putting it down $250, and then you can apply that, and then you get 10% off of a future cruise. You do have to use it within 2 years of when you purchase it. So you keep that in mind. And if you decide not to use it, you can still get a refund. But here is our pro tip. With the new itineraries coming out, if you're like, well, I have a cruise for my spring break in March, I'll just wait to book my 2027 until I get another placeholder. Don't do that. Instead, put your deposit down. Just make sure you're booking a refundable deposit, which means pretty much anything but concierge or guaranteed cabin.
I wish they would do this for concierge.
But put down your deposit to hold it. And then once you have that new placeholder, if it makes sense for you to apply that, then you just cancel your original booking. But we have seen many times people wait too long, and then the cost of that cruise has gone up because they do operate on supply and demand. So that's a little pro tip when it comes to your placeholders.
I think that's one of the most important tips. The closer you get to try to use your placeholder, the higher the price went, which kind of defeats the purpose. So for those of you that have placeholders in place right now, that was a weird sentence, but if you have a placeholder, use these, especially if you're a Castaway Club member, use these for a 2027 cruise. You're going to save 10%. Plus the $250 will apply towards your deposit, and then just watch the price go up and calculate how much you saved.
Yeah, lots of cool ways. Again, work with your travel advisor. They can make sure you're making the best decision.
Again, to reiterate, the Mediterranean is going to be very popular because of the Disney Wish. And we think that this ship and the itineraries will sell out first, especially even the ones to Norway and the ones that will visit both Italy and Greece.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get a lot of international travelers who want to get on the Wish because they didn't want to come over to the U.S. to hop on. So those shorter cruises are definitely going to be very popular with some of our friends across the pond.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the intro pricing is and comparing it to sailings that are the Caribbean. Europe in general is going to be a little more. Also, you're going to factor in airfare, which is why we always try to use our credit card strategies. Matter of fact, Kerri and I and one of our agents, we're working on a course, and it's called, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's called because it's a really cool name, but it has to do with how to maximize points. And my pro tip is it always starts with checking your credit, making sure you know what your credit score is. So when we release that course, we will tell you more about it.
So thanks for tuning in this week. And if you do receive our email this week, pay attention, because if you've never been on a Disney cruise, or maybe you have, you will really appreciate the little story that we share on how Disney makes you feel special and truly a part of the story as you board their ships.
Now, here's a bit of a warning. If you know anyone that's ever been on a Disney cruise, they're going to be talking about it this week
Okay.
on social media. So thanks again for joining us here on the Disney Travel Secrets podcast. Until next time, have a magical day.
We hope to see you real soon.